Hello, welcome to the party. Hi, I've never met you before. I know. Just two guys and we're having a good time. Having a good time. Having a good time. Just two guys and we're having a good time. Having a good time.
Hi, I'm Micah Roderick, back with Just Two Guys, here with John Anderson. And on today's show, we're actually going to do an interview with Josh Halford, a local animator, cartoon maker. So we'll get to that. But first, let's do our questions, and I will start off.
Q&A.
Q&A. Since I lost the flip the last episode, I will start off with the questions. So, John.
Yes.
Think long and hard about this question. And this has to do with last episode, actually.
Oh, great.
You're at a restaurant. You order a horseshoe, but the waitress says that we're all out of white cheese sauce.
Oh, no.
She offers you nacho cheese sauce instead. Yet, while she is saying that, you continually see people getting the same sauce that you want, even after you've ordered. You see this. What do you do? How do you react?
I think the first thing I would do is I'd say, nacho cheese. but then I'd call the manager to the table, and I would uppercut him through the table.
Sucker punch?
Not even a sucker punch. I'd say, this is coming. It's an uppercut.
I mean, listen, white cheese, to deny that is a crime.
Yeah. I mean, that's like currency in some countries.
That's currency in Springfield.
Yes, it is.
All right.
That's a good question, though, because that would enrage me. Nacho cheese on a horseshoe, that's what they used to serve at Eastern. It was like spicy cheese on crummy fries and like grade D but edible meat.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty awful.
That's
horrible. Pretty well. That's a good answer though. So you actually really get ticked off.
Yeah. Now, speaking of eating poor meat, I have a question for you.
Oh, wonderful.
Imagine, let me paint this picture for you.
Okay.
You're stranded on a ship in the middle of the ocean. We have a lot of nautical themes in our questions.
I've got a nautical question in here. So
the year is 1753.
Okay.
Times are bleak. Provisions are gone. Things don't look good. It's come down to eat or be eaten.
Uh-oh.
Do you do the eating or do you become the eaten?
I do the eating.
You do.
I do the eating.
You wouldn't selflessly give yourself up for your fellow man?
Listen, I don't have a lot to offer. You know, I really don't. But I'm sure there's some sucker on the ship that'd be willing to take one for the team.
Literally.
Well, if there's a definition for taking one for the team,
yeah,
giving yourself up for a feast is pretty good.
And also, I'd like to see right now a cannibal graphic flashing because that's our cannibal question of the day.
Cannibal question of the day. I don't know if I'd nibble on a finger first or if I'd go right into the...
We don't need details.
Okay.
Just wanted to know.
All right. Well, it's a cannibal question.
Your question.
All right. So you're in your very late 20s.
Yes.
29 to be exact.
I'm on the border there.
I'm on the border as well. But you grew up in the 1980s. One of the great things about growing up then were the great cartoon characters, great cartoons in the 80s. If you could choose, and I'll give you some examples of shows so you don't have to go through, to be protagonist, antagonist, and one of those cartoons, who would you be? And I'll give you got G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, Thundercats, Care Bears, Smurfs.
I'm ready.
You got the list out there.
I know.
Give it to me. Who are you?
Lion-O, Thundercats.
Oh, very good.
I loved his mane and the way he ran.
Yeah.
And the landscape would always move very quickly, and he was running.
But do you relate to him?
He had struggles that I think a firstborn child deals with. He's always sort of the protector. He's got to look out for others.
He has that burden, doesn't he?
He does. He's got a burden. But he has a sword that he can look through and see, distant things.
That is true.
And I always thought that was pretty cool.
You'd like to have a sword that you can look through.
Yeah, although I remember there were some characters on there, too, that I thought were cool. They were like Robert Burbles.
Whoa. That's
talked,
pulling one out from the past.
Yeah, they talked really cool. They were like these little robot bears, teddy bears.
Really? Wow, that's a great answer.
I think so.
Great answer. I was thinking you'd say He-Man or Bumblebee or something.
No way. Lion-O was my man.
Lion-O. Great answer.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, now I have one of these questions with sub-questions. Here's the question. Who is more beautiful? First sub-question, Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie?
Angelina Jolie.
No way. Sorry, that's wrong.
I gotta go with her. You take the lips away, and she's pretty.
Okay, Brad Pitt gets my vote. No.
I don't think he's bad. I'm not saying like the guy's. I just.
Okay. Now, the next sub-question.
Uh-huh.
Dolly Parton or Sally Field?
Sally Field.
Definitely.
All the way.
Although Dolly Parton is cool.
Even today.
Dolly Parton's cool.
Well, Dolly Parton's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. But no, Sally Field, she's always been very attractive. Still very attractive.
And the next one, Paul Newman or Robert Redford? Then and now.
Oh, well, I'd have to go with Newman then, Redford now.
I think that's good. I think that's true.
I think. Wow, this show went really gay real quick, didn't it?
It sure did.
Whoa. All right. Next question. Control room telling me to go to the next question.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, this is continues. You have to choose between 3 roommates. Number 1. He's a guy. He has a collection of semi-automatic guns, some possibly illegal guns, but he keeps a very neat and tidy, clean apartment.
Okay.
Your second choice is a guy who appears to be very intellectual, has a lot of books laying around, seems to be, conversationalist, but he's very sloppy. Leaves old food laying around. He's got horseshoes on the ceiling. It's an awful place. But he's he's very intellectual. The third roommate, he has all the necessary NASCAR accessories. He has a beer can pyramid sitting on the kitchen table. But he seems to be the nicest guy out of all of them. He's very relaxed, very open to discussion. Who do you select as a roommate?
That's tough.
Roommate 1, 2, or 3?
Well, I'm going to eliminate the gun guy right up front. Because the other 2 guys, at least they don't have something that can kill me on a whim. Okay. And cleanliness is craziness, I think.
Oh, wow.
Too cleanly is crazy.
Okay. So that eliminates gun guy.
The other guy, the party guy, who's very nice, probably a pretty cool dude, but not somebody I'd want to live with. I think I have more in common with the guy who likes to read books and do all sorts of stuff, even though he's a slob. That would probably bother me.
Might have to work on that.
Yeah, and I may end up looking for another roommate down the road, but I'd have to choose the guy in the middle.
Very good answer.
Thanks. Okay, this is going to be a quick one, I think.
Okay.
In a bar, would you rather see accidental nudity or a bar brawl?
Bar brawl.
Me too.
Accidental nudity is so quick and not expected.
Yeah.
A bar brawl, that's what you want to see.
It's refreshing.
It's very refreshing. I loved it. I love to be up close too.
Yeah?
It's great.
Great.
Well, that's a good question.
Thanks.
Okay, John, you're on the Titanic and you're alone. You don't have any family members, friends. The Titanic hits the iceberg, and you just happen to find a trunk of women's clothes that appear to fit you.
Oh.
Do you put those clothes on and head for the lifeboats, or do you act like the men of the time and go down with the ship?
I think that what I would probably do is put the clothes on and just go down with the ship. I just die.
That is the best answer.
Just die a happy man. I get the best of both worlds.
Did you do a little dance too? I mean,
yeah, I would do a
maybe
jig
go
on the way
pick
down.
up a man.
Yeah.
Whoa.
As I'm
Where are we
dangling with a bonnet.
That's a great answer.
Thanks.
That's a great answer. I can see that. I can envision it now.
Okay, let's see. I know we don't have very much time left for questions. All right, I'm going to go with, which would you rather discover? A cure for dementia or a wormhole to another dimension?
A dementia? That's very good wording. Well, would there be a cure in the other dimension? Would there be some...
That's up to you. It's your dimension.
See, I'm thinking that going into another dimension can cure dementia. Or at least scare the dementia out of you.
See, I knew that you would go seeking for more cures. I knew that you would try to find
because
cures
I want dementia cured, but man,
you couldn't pass up the
dimension.
Excellent answer.
Dementia.
Excellent answer.
Yeah, that's That's what I got. Real quickly, outside of Springfield, what's your favorite state capital and what's your least favorite state capital?
State capital.
Quickly.
Richmond, Virginia is my favorite.
Okay.
My least favorite, I don't know. I don't have that many least favorite
Say
capitals.
Frankfurt. Say Frankfurt.
Frankfurt.
All right. Good. I don't know
And
why I'm picking on Kentucky.
I think
It could be
that's
Jeff City. I don't know.
Production room. Yeah.
We are
okay,
here in
we're
the
out of
end.
time.
Yes. So.
So
all right.
we'll
well,
see Josh Halford next.
Yes. Thank you.
What are you, gay? Oh, all right. Sonny boy, give your old man a hug.
By God, that's disgusting.
Good night, son. I've had so much fun. My little boy is growing up.
All right. Well, we're here now with Josh Halford. He's a local animator who does Flash cartoons. If you've followed the blog at all, you know that we've posted several times about Flash animations and the prevalence of cartoons on the web now because people have a much easier time making their own entertainment. So we brought Josh on. We really like a lot of the work he's done. He has a cartoon called Nutsy and Clutsy, and the characters are just hilarious, and they're a lot like, I think a lot of Ren and Stimpy when I see it.
I see a lot of Ren and Stimpy in it.
But let's let Josh just kind of start. One of the things I want to know up front is how did you come up with the characters for Nutsy and Clutsy?
Ren and Stimpy, basically.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, the first episode, you can really see it's like exactly like Ren and Stimpy, which was kind of the intent from the beginning. I wanted to do, I've seen a lot of Flash cartoons, but I hadn't seen any that were, you know, in that style with a lot of animation. It was all like more like Hanna-Barbera stuff where people just make one drawing and just move it.
Right.
And so I wanted to do something that was more like a old school cartoon, like Ren and Stimpy.
Well, how did you get into the technical side of it? I mean, you had it in your head first, or were you just messing around with the software and then it came to you?
Well, I'd been using Flash for a little while. I've been drawing cartoons my whole life, and you know, before Flash came along, really the only thing I ever did was draw comics because that's really the only outlet you have when you're a kid growing up. But then Flash came along, and somebody showed me a Flash cartoon, and that was just it. I had to learn it, and yeah.
Wow. It is. It's an amazing piece of software.
Yeah.
That you can do it, and it's so small. It's such a small file size for such a great animation.
Yeah.
Really.
Right.
I mean, it was, you know, not to offend you, but when I watched it, I thought there's no way one guy did this. It looked like it had been sent to Korea, and you know, a bunch of guys got it together and sent it back here.
Well,
that's great.
That was the intent.
Good.
Yeah, and what I like about it is that a lot of the Flash animation I've seen on the web is exactly what you said. It's a drawn cartoon, and it's got a mouth that moves, and then the next segment is a different character with the mouth moving. What you've done is really animate well. I mean, you've got characters scratching themselves and really moving and doing a lot of neat stuff, and I like that. It's a lot more like what you'd see on TV.
Right. It's an amazing thing. Where did you come up with the characters and the voices? And because you don't just, you know, write it, direct it. You are the voices. You are everything in these cartoons. Where did they come from? I mean, because I see when I watch it, I see more than just, you know, a guy behind a computer throwing this together. There's more art to it than that. So where did you come up with those voices and those characters?
Well, really, I mean, if you go to my website, you can see other cartoons I've done that I just, when I was first learning Flash, they're just stupid little short things I did. And then I decided I wanted to do a series. And I actually started on a different series before Nutsy and Clutsy, which I was really liking. But then I realized it's just like every other series that you see on the internet in this kind of style. So I was like, no, I just want to totally scrap that. I want to do, because I happened to see like an episode of Ren and Stimpy, and that was like my show growing up, you know, as a kid. And I just wanted to do something like that. And so I came up with these characters. I mean, I'll be the first to admit they're basically generic versions of Ren and Stimpy. But
I think they go beyond that, though. I mean, I think they've moved away from Ren and Stimpy. They were their own characters.
Well, that happens with any characters, any cartoons that you do. You start out with the idea of making it kind of like this, and then it just molds itself into your own style.
I noticed that you've gotten a lot of positive comments on Newgrounds.
Right.
A lot of people saying you've filled the void that is missing now that Ren and Stimpy's gone. And so I think people appreciate that it's that style of animation. Even the music, I think, is even very reminiscent. Where do you come up with the music?
The music, actually, I just have a bunch of classical music CDs that I use, and it's not copyright infringement.
Right.
Even though, I mean, a lot of people don't worry about that on the internet, but it can happen if you get popular.
Well, but you know, if you want to really put a career out there, I mean, it's things you need to watch out for. So, and that's pretty encouraging to see.
And the music was a big thing with me. I wanted to have the music like Ren and Stimpy and kind of bring back that whole vibe.
And where did like the sound effects come from? Are they within the software, or do you pull those?
Those kind of come from either. I have sound effects CDs. They also come from different programs. Like my audio software has sound effects inside it, but it just comes. When you need something, you just gotta find it any way you can.
Before I forget, I do wanna show people the web address.
Oh yes, right here,
Josh.
The web address
right here.
In here.
So people can go actually view these.
I'll just read it too.
Okay.
So people who can't read, no, it's www.nutsyandclutsy.com. It's all one word, nutsyandclutsy.com.
And then it's very easy. You've got a very navigable site.
Very. Now, one of the things I want to know is, talk to us a little bit about, from the very beginning to the end, the steps you take to produce an animation. From like, I know that you have some storyboards on the website, but talk a little bit about that.
Well, starting out, I mean, every episode I do gets more and more complex. Like, I started out just working on it, coming up with things. I mean, I didn't even have a script till I was halfway done with the episode. So that one was just kind of on the fly. I didn't even have the whole story worked out. Then the next episode, I'd written the script, but I just kept, I just started on it. Whereas now we're all the way I'm working on episode 4 now, and I mean, I have been working on it for a month or so, and I haven't even started on the animation. I've got the script written. I've drawn out all the storyboards. I've written all I've recorded all the dialogue.
Wow.
And I'm in the process of designing the backgrounds.
Oh wow!
So it's still a little ways
away.
So
how long would you say it actually takes to produce one of your episodes? I assume it's just getting longer and longer now.
Well, yeah. I mean, the first episode took a little bit longer because I'm still a little bit new to it. It took about 4 months. The second episode I just hammered out in about 2 months.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I worked on it all the
time.
And
that's a classic.
Yeah,
that is a classic.
That is my favorite so far as the writing goes. But
I love the jail scene. That's great. I hope we're showing it right
now. The third episode started, I can't remember what month. I mean, it took probably about 8 months to do because I kind of taken some time off, but even without that, I mean, it still just took forever because of all the animation involved, and it just took forever.
Now, when you're animating these, you said you do the backgrounds. So you do all the backgrounds as sort of a stationary,
right? And
then you animate over the top.
As much as I can. Anything that's not going to move, or I don't have to manipulate in some way, I usually design it beforehand.
Yeah.
And it's easier if you just design everything and then piece it all together like a puzzle.
Okay.
And it kind of keeps it a little interesting.
And that's a typical way for animators to work.
Oh, that's how that's how you're supposed to do it. I just haven't done it that way till now.
Yeah. Wow.
Now, one of the things that I want to touch on, and it's one of my favorite aspects of this whole thing, is, and I hope that we're showing this right now, is that it makes a lot of references, especially within episode 2. It makes a lot of reference to cartoons that obviously inspired you. The Flintstones are there. which I think the Flintstones bit is hilarious.
We won't say in what capacity they're there, but they're
And
there.
Ren and Stimpy in the courtroom scene, you can see Ren and
Yes,
Stimpy
Ren and
singing in the
Stimpy
background.
flash
That was,
on it. What an homage.
I did that because on Newgrounds with the first episode, and I think rightfully so, I got a lot of criticism. A lot of it was good, like you were saying. A lot of people said I filled the void where Ren and Stimpy left off, but I had a lot of people just say, oh, you're Ren and Stimpy ripoff and blah, 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 and which it is a little bit. I mean, it's obviously taken from it, but I mean, I did that as kind of just like a wink at those people, like, there, suck it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say.
That's
well-
okay, we forget what we're going to say all the time.
Outside of Ren and Stimpy and the Flintstones, what are some other cartoons that you've seen growing up that have influenced you a little bit?
Well, Ren and Stimpy visually was my biggest influence. As far as humor goes and writing style, hands down The Simpsons. I mean,
Yeah,
There we
that's
go.
the King Kong of all.
and it's
Well, that's it.
the Simpsons seasons 1 through 8, I would say.
okay.
Those are the best ones of them
Yeah,
all, and
yeah.
I have them all on DVD.
Tend to
and
agree.
that was my reason for living as a child,
Oh yeah,
growing up.
it's amazing too, and I noticed this a lot. You've got some sort of subtle messages in the cartoon that lends itself to that Simpsons, where they may have an allegory that goes 3 or 4 layers deep in the Simpsons, and I think you've touched
Yeah.
on that some too.
I think you're definitely
So the
doing
writing style, I can see that
Yeah,
you've drawn
and
from that.
you know, I've been doing it for so long. I've been writing comic books and things like that for so long that I do things I don't even realize that are like The Simpsons. And even sometimes I'll do a joke or something, and I'll realize, wait a minute, that was from an episode. I can't do that. It's a ripoff. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I've watched that show my whole life, and it's been such a huge part of my life that it's just kind of in my subconscious all the time.
Yeah.
And that's
I think it's affected a lot of people in our generation. I mean, it's just.
oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I make references to it all the time.
Yeah, it's kind and it's funny how much it's transcended. 1989
Yeah.
is when it started. I mean, that's
17 years, yeah.
that's
Amazing.
quite a bit of time to be on the air.
And I think a lot of people, like a lot of younger people today, don't even really watch The Simpsons. I mean, the ratings are lower. I think, in my personal opinion, the show's gotten worse. But, you know, like you said, people in our generation, we all have seen like every episode.
right.
You know,
And then they've got the movie coming out.
Yeah, that
finally
too.
next year.
Yeah.
Now, I guess one of my questions, are there any other Flash animators or animations that you have seen on the web that also sort of inspire you or that you...
Oh, definitely. If you go, I mean, if you're familiar with Newgrounds, if you go to the best of all time list, a lot of those.
Yeah, that's why a lot of times I
Mighty
do
of Brackenwood is probably the biggest. It's the best animation I've ever seen done in
Is that
Flash.
the one that's like the monster running through the...
Yeah, he's got like
Yeah.
goat legs. And
Awesome.
that guy, he's good. There's some here and there that just make you want to just quit because you're like, wow, how can I ever do that?
Is there
But
some sort of a contest entry that you can get yourself into for
Well,
Flash animation?
Newgrounds itself is sort of an all-day
yeah.
long... I mean, every day
kind
is
of like
a contest.
You don't really win anything, but
They'll vote you. You know, if
You know,
you submit something, then that day it may be voted
I have
number
a feeling
one.
that's coming though. I mean, it's got to be coming. The more people do this,
Yeah.
and I mean, the quality of work.
well, they do at Newgrounds. They had started a thing where I think it's the top 5 number ones of the month get like $250 or something
Oh,
like
wow.
that.
That's cool.
Oh,
It's
wow.
something like that. I don't know if that's.
I'm surprised
exactly
we
right.
haven't seen some Flash film festivals or something.
Yeah, that's what
popping
I'm.
up.
That's
Yeah,
kind of where I'm
yeah.
going at here.
Well, a lot of people outside of the internet community aren't very familiar with it.
Mhm.
You say Flash cartoon, they're like what? You know?
Yeah.
you got to put it on television, and then
Yeah.
it gets to the.
Yeah.
Well,
I've had to explain it to everyone in my family that knows I do this, what exactly it is.
Well, where do you want to go with this? I mean, with this, do you want to make this like the career, and
I-
how do you do that with Flash animation? I mean, is that too far out there right now?
Well, the thing about it, like I said, I always did comic books because I just had nothing. There's nothing else. You can't really animate a cartoon by hand
Right.
on your own without the
Yeah.
equipment and things like
Yeah.
that. So basically, I mean, the way I see it, it's just a way to get your stuff out there. I mean, ultimately, I'd like to work in television, you know, writing for cartoons and things like that. I don't know if I'd want to animate it because it's a lot of work, but
Right.
I'd like to write and direct and, you know, storyboard things, do layouts and things like that. And it's a way for people to, you know, see your stuff and, maybe get a job somewhere, hopefully.
Well, that's the beauty of the web, is now you have this body of work out there
Yeah.
that people
and
can see.
that's the great thing about Newgrounds, is anybody can submit anything, and a
Right.
lot of people go to it to check out artists and animators and things.
Yeah.
And
I know a lot of those guys will do it professionally. I mean, they are working for.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What I guess, did you learn Flash? You just got in and started doing it?
Basically, I mean, there's lots of books you can buy. You can do tutorials. I mean, I've always personally been better at learning things just by doing it myself and trial and error. As you can see with the episodes, they start out looking pretty rough and wobbly, and then as it progresses, it gets a lot better looking.
Yeah.
And it's just from trial and error. And
Did they update the software every few years?
yeah, they actually just did less than a year ago.
Oh, really?
It's kind of hard to keep up with sometimes.
And you're into that new software at this point?
Yeah, it does. Every time they update it, they don't really change that much. They just add a few features, but it's basically the same
Take your money,
thing.
though.
Yeah, they sure do.
Oh, hey. So you're suddenly
I don't know
angry.
what that.
So if somebody's watching, which they probably aren't, but if somebody's watching and they want to get started doing Flash animation, what would you recommend? Where should they start?
Get together a lot of money, or pirate Flash off the downloading it or something. But
Borrow it from a friend.
yeah. Well, actually, a lot of people, you can download like a 30-day free trial, and I don't know, after you're done with it, I think you can just download it again and just keep doing it.
If you just stay awake for all 30 days, you might get enough practice in to
Yeah.
look decent at it.
A lot of people do it that way, but basically, get your hands on a copy of Flash, and you can go on the internet. People make tutorials in Flash to kind of help people learn how to do certain things, and you do have to know how to use a computer pretty well,
Right.
and it's just playing with it and trying to figure it out.
Do people come up to you now that they know you're doing this and annoy you by coming up with brilliant ideas?
Not really. I actually get a lot of good material from my friends, hanging out with my friends.
That's good.
We go out, we'll go play pool, and we come up with the funniest stuff, joking around, and I'll end up putting it in a script or something, if it's a funny voice or a joke or something.
That's great.
Yeah, that is cool.
But nobody ever comes up and they're like, oh, you should do this, and I want to do the voice. and
Oh,
all
that's
this
too
stuff.
bad.
That's too bad. You should
People-
experience it.
People don't do that at all.
I'd
to
actually,
us.
I don't know if anybody in Springfield is a voice actor, but I'd actually like to find people that can do good voices.
You do a wonderful job,
Yeah,
by the
I
way.
think so, too.
It blows my mind what you can
It's
do.
kind of like a self-conscious thing with me. I hate the sound of my own voice, and I know
Me too.
when I watch this show, I'm going to hate hearing me, but...
Well, you can do it in a different voice if you'd like.
Yeah.
Like this?
We'll just
Yeah,
dub
exactly.
over your entire voice.
Okay.
We'll hire a voice actor to do your voice for the show. Yeah, that's the thing. When I watch those, it never would have occurred to me that it was you doing all the voices. I thought he's probably got his buddies, doing voices for him, but that's awesome.
I know.
And a lot of people, they meet me, and they don't think I'd make something like that. Because I think I seem kind of normal and shy a little bit,
Little do
quiet.
they know it's in that head.
Yeah.
The humor is just hilarious. For people who
Yeah.
haven't seen it, check it out. The humor, I think, is just great. Some of it is absurd and over the top, but it's so good.
And just keep going with those episodes. That's
I actually found it on Newgrounds, and then later I saw the writer's block. They had a little thing in there about advertising, and I thought, I've seen this before, and it didn't. I would have never guessed that somebody talented lived in Springfield. Pardon my
Springfield
French.
talent.
But yeah, I was like, wow, this is a quality, animation. And
Yeah.
one other question that I would like to ask before we run out of time: do you consider it an animation or a cartoon? And what are
I call it a cartoon because I like the word cartoon.
I do too.
I like cartoon.
Just calling it
too.
an animation. Well, an animation of what? It
Seems
could be.
kinda
It doesn't
lifeless.
seem to have a story if it's
Yeah.
animation.
It's an animation of somebody
This
walking.
is animation.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
It is pretty
Animation.
intriguing. But yeah, no, it's great cartoons. Keep up the good work, and hopefully we'll have you on again sometime with maybe some new episodes,
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
works.
Actually, I would like at some point when the new one drops. I love saying that. When the new one drops, maybe we could even air it. We could do a segment just
awesome.
airing
if
the new one.
it's suitable.
I would love that.
There might be a few scenes you might have to take out.
Nah, that's all right. That's all right.
No,
I think
no.
this one might be a little toned down than
Okay.
the last
It's
one.
it's very good stuff. So thanks
right,
thanks for coming on the
thanks
show.
for coming
Josh.
on.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful.
And again, the website's nutsyandclutsy.com.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Hello, welcome to the party. Hi, I've never met you before. I know. Just two guys and we're having a good time. Having a good time. Having a good time. Just two guys and we're having a good time. Having a good time.